See, this is lecture number 10, which is related with respiration as well. Now this in the previous lecture we were started with this Bohr's effect. This diagram, it shows Bohr's effect. Here on the x-axis it is partial pressure of oxygen, which is measured in millimeter of mercury, and towards the y-axis it is HbO2 saturation. So what is the relation between partial pressure of oxygen, degree of saturation of this oxygen, and the concentration of HbO2 saturation? These two are shown in this effect, which is called as Bohr's effect. So what is the meaning of oxygen dissociation curve? This oxygen dissociation curve is degree of saturation of hemoglobin, that is degree of saturation of hemoglobin with respect to partial pressure of oxygen. This is called as Bohr's effect. So this oxygen dissociation curve, it dissociates. Oxygen dissociation curve, it shifts towards the right side, towards the lower side. That is actually called as Bohr's effect. In other words, we can say that this shifting of the oxygen dissociation curve is due to what? What are the reasons for this shifting? Reasons for shifting are increasing hydrogen ion concentration. This increase in higher concentration of, we can say increase in hydrogen ion concentration results in low pH. Normal pH, neutral pH is 7, and with decrease in pH means what? 6, 5, 4, 3 and all. This decrease in pH means high acidic environment. So shifting of oxygen dissociation curve, one of the reason is here low pH. Along with this low pH, second reason is high concentration of carbon dioxide. If the concentration of carbon dioxide is more, at that time oxygen cannot dissociate. So high concentration of carbon dioxide, low pH are the two main reasons. Third one is rise in temperature, and fourth one is formation of 2,3-diphosphoglycerate. When it is formed inside the RBCs during the process of glycolysis. So these are the reasons. Now what this diagram shows? This diagram shows that this yellow colored curve which is shifted downward, the diagram shows that high concentration of CO2 and low pH, that means the acidic environment, is the reason for shifting of oxygen dissociation curve. Middle one shown with the pink color is when the normal concentration of carbon dioxide and normal pH is there will be normal normal HbO2 saturation will be there. And this upper curve, it shows when there is low CO2 and high pH is there, at that time there will be high HbO2 saturation because of presence of more partial pressure of oxygen. This is called as Bohr's effect.
Start.
After Bohr's effect, we are going to study about Haldane effect. What is this Haldane effect? See, we have studied that Hb combines with oxygen and results in formation of HbO2, which is called as oxyhemoglobin. It is the reversible reaction. So this HbO2 which is get formed, oxyhemoglobin which is get formed, it increases the acidic environment. So HbO2 acts as acid. Acts as acid means it lowers the pH. So lowering in pH results in formation of acidic environment. So when acidic environment is there, here H2 combines with carbon dioxide. H2, here HbO2 becomes an acid, lowering pH. In the previous lecture we have seen that when there is low pH, what do you mean by low pH? Whenever pH is less, hydrogen ion concentration is more, H plus is more. So when H plus is more, at that condition, HCO3 minus ions, it results in formation of carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so this is first part of the Haldane effect. What is it? Oxyhemoglobin, that is hemoglobin plus oxygen, forms a complex which is called as oxyhemoglobin. It acts as an acid. When acid is there, it lowers the pH. When pH is less, hydrogen ion concentration is more. And in presence of more hydrogen ion concentration, this HCO3 it dissociates and results in formation of CO2 and H2O. Later on we have to study is about the partial pressure of carbon dioxide and partial pressure of oxygen. It vary in different places. What is it? If we consider alveoli, what is this alveoli? Alveoli is the structural and functional unit of lungs. In alveoli, always remember that partial pressure of oxygen is always more with respect to partial pressure of carbon dioxide. We can say that partial pressure of CO2 is less. We have studied that diffusion of gases takes place from higher partial pressure to the lower partial pressure. So what happens? This inside the alveoli, as the partial pressure of oxygen is more, it will diffuse into the blood vessels, or we can say diffuse into the alveoli. This is the condition in case of lung level. When we go to the cell level, in cell level, because of metabolism, because of oxidation of oxygen, there will be more partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more in the cell. And what about partial pressure of oxygen? This partial pressure of oxygen will be less. So as partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more in cell, this carbon dioxide will diffuse back into the blood vessels so that it will be given out. This effect is called as Haldane effect. After this, we are going to study about the transport of CO2, that is the second part of internal respiration. In the previous lecture, we have seen that internal respiration involved two stages, that is transport of oxygen and transport of carbon dioxide. Transport of oxygen we already have studied before, and under that we have studied about Bohr's effect and Haldane effect. Now we are going to study about transport of carbon dioxide. Where formation of carbon dioxide takes place? This formation of carbon dioxide takes place at cell level, because oxidation of food material with the help of oxygen takes place at cell, which results in formation of carbon dioxide and ATP. We have studied it many times. So CO2 formation at cell level takes place. So from cell, this carbon dioxide should be carried up to the lungs for its expiration. So this transportation of carbon dioxide takes place in three ways. What are these three ways? First one is through plasma. Simply through plasma in dissolved state it can be carried. Secondly, by formation of bicarbonate ions. And thirdly, it takes place through the RBCs. So this is for the percentage, we can say transport of carbon dioxide in three ways. First of all, through plasma, only 7% of the carbon dioxide can be carried. In what way? In plasma, which is a liquid part of the blood, this carbon dioxide, it combines with water. So CO2 plus H2O, it results in formation of H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. This H2CO3 is a carbonic acid. So through plasma it will be carried up to the lung, where H2CO3 it dissociates again, results in formation of carbon dioxide and water, so that carbon dioxide can be eliminated. This is the first way by through plasma this carbon dioxide can be given out. Second way is formation of bicarbonate ions. By formation of bicarbonate ion, major amount of carbon dioxide can be carried. How the carbonate ion formation takes place? This formation of bicarbonate ion, it takes place how? We will see that, as I said that carbon dioxide is transported through plasma. Through plasma, this carbon dioxide, now through plasma, CO2, it enters into the RBCs. That is, it enters into the red blood corpuscle. Just consider that this is RBCs. So in RBCs, one of the enzyme is present called as carbonic anhydrase. This carbonic anhydrase is responsible for combination of CO2 plus H2O. So this CO2 plus H2O, it results in formation of what? It results in formation of H H2CO3 as we have studied earlier. So again here carbonic acid is get formed. This carbonic acid will dissociate inside the RBCs. What is this dissociation? This dissociation, it results in formation of what? It results in formation of H plus and HCO3 minus. HCO3 minus ions. Of this, what happens? Higher concentration of HCO3 minus, it comes out of the RBCs, and this H plus it remains inside. In order to balance increasing amount of H plus inside the RBCs, from plasma Cl minus ions enters. So this entry of Cl minus ions inside the RBCs, in order to maintain the balance of H plus, it is called as chloride shift. This is called as chloride shift, and this chloride shift is also called as Hamburger's effect. Okay, so this is the third effect we have studied, or we can say this is the first effect, chloride shift or Hamburger's effect in case of transport of carbon dioxide. And before we have studied inside the RBCs two types of effect, Bohr's effect and Haldane effects. Okay, so this is two ways we have studied, through plasma and through bicarbonate ions. And through RBCs this carbon dioxide can be transported. Simply it forms here carb-aminohemoglobin. So by formation of carb-aminohemoglobin, this carbon dioxide can also be transported from cells to the lungs.